Good evening, I'm Prasad Michael and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. I've got a great show for you today. We have an interview with Shafi Abdal. He told us why he chose Dr. Mahathir over Anwar Ibrahim as the PHPM candidate. That's coming later in the show. But first, let's see how the drama that began in Parliament yesterday got a response from the Speaker today.
Boleh Bapak Menteri jelaskan kenapa ke tak cukup wanita yang berkaliber sebelah Perikatan Nasional ni?
Gelap, tak nampak.
Saya rasa perkara tersebut boleh...
Saya tidak menyatakan bahawa beliau gelap. Saya tidak kata YB ni gelap. Saya kata gelap, saya pun gelap. Pakailah bedah, selesai masalah.
This was the scene from Dewan Rakyat on Monday. However, Dewan Rakyat Speaker Azhar Azizan Harun declined to make a ruling on the matter at the time. But today, after reviewing the handset of the incident, Azhar concluded that Baling MP Abdul Aziz Abdul Rahim's remarks directed at Batu Kawan MP Kasturi Rani Pato in the House were indeed offensive.
Dan saya mengambil keputusan bahawa perkataan-perkataan tersebut adalah agak ofensif dan saya ingin mengarahkan YB Baling untuk memohon maaf dan menarik balik perkataan tersebut. YB Baling, saya persilakan.
Terima kasih Datuk Yang Di-Pertua. Saya akur, tetapi izinkan saya sedikit sebagai seorang ahli parlimen, saya nak menjelaskan sedikit. Pertama sekali, saya tidak sama sekali ada sebarang niat untuk memanggil sesiapa sebagai gelap dan sebagainya.
According to Abdul Aziz, his remarks were referring to Kasturi Rani's seat location, which was poorly lit and not her physical attributes.
Just quick one, sir. 2 tahun saya duduk di situ, di same spot di situ. Sememangnya kawasan tu gelap dan kami selalu tak dapat perhatian daripada Datuk Speaker. Jadi bila mana semalam beliau tengah bercakap-cakap, saya kata kawasan, saya kata gelap, tak nampak kawasan tu. Maksud saya kawasan tu. Bagi saya adalah penting untuk rakyat netizen yang tidak berdosa di luar sana tahu, supaya saya tidak ada sama sekali niat untuk memanggil sesiapa gelap, kerana diri saya sendiri pun Allah telah takdir saya dilahirkan sebagai gelap. Jadi tak ada sebab pun saya nak panggil orang lain gelap.
Following his explanation, Aziz apologized and retracted his remarks. However, Kasturi Rani protested, arguing that Abdul Aziz should not be let off the hook with just a mere apology.
Bukan saya sahaja, ramai lagi ahli parlimen, terutama sekali ahli parlimen wanita yang telah menjadi mangsa kepada kata-kata kesat daripada Yang Berhormat Baling.
Terima kasih.
Saya mohon satu ruling yang tegas daripada Tuan Speaker, sekadar menarik balik dan mohon maaf. Yang Berhormat Baling dah buat banyak kali dah. Masih tidak bertaubat lagi.
Okey. Sila duduk. Okey. Kita tak mau panjangkan perkara ini. Terima kasih.
Maka kalau benda itu terjadi,
jelutong tu lagi dahsyat.
Tak apa.
Jelutong tu lagi dahsyat. Tak pernah orang kacau. Satu Malaysia benci kat jelutong tu.
You know how people call the Perikatan National Administration a backdoor government? Well, Ahmad Mazlan told Parliament today why it's inaccurate to call them that. BN's Pontian MP Ahmad Mazlan told Parliament today that the Perikatan National Federal Administration is not a backdoor government.
Setelah Tun Mahathir meletak jawatan, diterima menghadap, diminta oleh Tuanku untuk tidak meletak jawatan, namun Tun Mahathir tetap dengan keputusannya. Akhirnya Tan Sri Muhyiddin dilantik oleh Tuanku menjadi Perdana Menteri ke-8. Ini kerajaan pintu istana yang sah, bukan kerajaan pintu belakang.
He said this is because PN was installed by the Yang Di-Pertuan Agong, Sultan Abdullah Sultan Ahmad Shah, who resolved the political crisis. Ahmad also said that Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin, who was announced as the premier succeeding Mahathir, was the saviour of the country instead of a traitor, as labelled by some.
Dengan izin Datuk Speaker, the Yang Di-Pertuan Agong shall appoint a Jemaah Menteri Cabinet of Ministers to advise him in the exercise of his functions. The Yang Di-Pertuan Agong shall first appoint as Perdana Menteri, Prime Minister, to preside over the Cabinet a member of the House of Representatives who, in his judgment, is likely to command the confidence of the majority of the members of that House. Faham sepang
Faham, boleh tanya? Kalau you want to engage with me, can I ask question?
Tak boleh. Kemudian.
Boleh? Tahu tak nak? You want to engage with me, saya kena tanya soalan lah. Saya benar kata soalan.
Elaborating further, Ahmad said BN lawmakers initially signed a statutory declaration to support Mahathir as the premier, but the ST was not applied when Mahathir resigned. Now we take a look at the country's latest COVID-19 situation. Today, the ministry reported 0 local cases. After a 4-day resurgence of local cases, Malaysia today went back to reporting 0 local cases. However, there were still new cases imported from people returning from overseas. Of the imported cases, 3 were Malaysians and 1 was a non-citizen. Meanwhile, there were 4 recoveries, putting the total active cases at 83. 6 patients are under intensive care, with 2 needing ventilators. No new deaths were reported today. Health Ministry Director General Dr. Noresham Abdullah also stressed on the need for people to wear face masks.
Jadi kita sekarang ni sangat-sangat menggalakkan pemakaian penutup hidung dan mulut. Tetapi untuk menjadikan dia mandatory, kalau kita menjadikan dia mandatory, maksudnya mereka yang tak pakai mask akan didenda RM1,000, kalau tak boleh bayar denda akan masuk penjara. Jadi kita tak nak menggunakan kaedah tersebut, tapi kita sangat menggalakkan pemakaian mask terutamanya di khalayak awam, ataupun kalau kita ada gejala, kita digalakkan sangat memakai mask.
While we may be in the recovery movement control order period, the government still isn't ready to let people leave the country to go on holidays. Putrajaya has declined applications by expatriates holding the Employment Pass Category 1 to go on holidays abroad during the recovery movement control order period. Senior Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the government has received such applications for overseas vacations, including from expatriates, but did not give them the approval.
Kalau mereka ingin juga keluar bercuti, kita tidak benarkan mereka kembali ke negara kita sehinggalah ke satu-satu tarikh yang ditetapkan. Kita berlaku adil kerana rakyat kita tidak benarkan bercuti. Tidak dibenarkan keluar negara.
On another matter, Ismail urged 255 individuals on home quarantine to come forward for the second COVID-19 test after they failed to do so on the 13th day of self-isolation. Ismail warned that the authorities know their locations and their failure to come forward will result in a 1,000 ringgit compound or being hauled to court. Ismail noted that some of those on home quarantine had attempted to go out although they were supposed to stay in a room for 14 days. In one case in Malacca, he said that an individual who was not confined in a room during the home quarantine had infected the father. Coming up next, we sat down with Shafi Abdal, find out what he said about Mahathir and Anwar after this. Why did Warisan President Shafi Abdal support Dr. Mahathir Mohamad and not Anwar Ibrahim as Harapan Plus Prime Minister candidate? He revealed why during an interview in Kuala Lumpur this morning.
You have said that you will only support Dr. Mahathir. Why only Dr. instead of Anwar?
Well, when you realize that because the other side is talking about a group of people where it is too Malay-centric. You talk about UMNO, you talk about PAS, you talk about Bersatu. While on our part, it's all multiracial, you see. So you cannot realize getting the support from the Malays, not only for taking over the government, but also general elections, you see. The country is multiracial. Certain places, you have 5 dominant Malay states, Perlis, Kedah, Kelantan, Terengganu, Pahang. While the rest are multiracial. I mean, Sarawak, Sabah, Penang, Johor, Selangor, it is not 90-80% Malay here. So we have to think ahead and forward and for the future, saying that it's not only taking over the government, but we must face the elections next. And how can you garner the support, you know, when you don't have that sort of person who can, not to say unwind the support of UMNO and Bersatu, but we have gone through history in our life in Malaysia. When Semangat and Pol-Pol-6 tried to topple UMNO and Mahathir, more than half of the cabinet resigned at that time. Tunku Razali, Tun Musa Hitam, Dola Budawi, Rais Yatin, you name it. You know, these are big players in Malaysian politics then. And they were unable to topple Mahathir then. And second round was Anwar. You know, all the movement keadilan, that was Semangat 46, and next was Anwar. And UMNO was still there. But when Mahathir make a move, the last elections, you can imagine some of the marginal seats, Malay area, Kedah lost to Bersatu, Johor lost to Bersatu, many states lost to Bersatu. Was it because of Anwar? Was it because of Musa Hitam? Was it because of Tunku Razali? It was Mahathir. That's why you look into the reasoning that I presented, not because I'm sticky with Mahathir, but how can you realize to win the next elections and to getting the numbers from Bersatu, from Keadilan, which is currently led by Azmin, or even for that matter from UMNO side too. If you were to put Anwar, I mean, Anwar has been announced by PH to become the leader, 109.
When asked whether Anwar was the stumbling block in Pakatan Harapan, as DAP and Amanah initially agreed with Dr. Mahathir to choose him as the PM candidate, this is what Shafie said.
Well, I didn't say that, you said that. So I know. The thing is that that's quite clear when you notice that one after the other. I mean, we have been losing states. We have losing our members of parliament. You know, we lost Kedah, we lost Melaka. What next? I mean, that's what I said. We must be very focused in our agenda and to move forward, not only if it is possible to take over the government, but facing the next election. Election is not far away, you know. It's just around the corner. And we must be very focused. We cannot be just fighting who is going to be the candidate. I don't want to waste my time just naming people who is going to be the candidate when the election is coming.
Hundreds of firefighters battled through a second day to save a US war vessel swept by flames. A massive fire aboard a US Navy ship has raged for 2 days in San Diego, despite efforts from hundreds of firefighters. They battled the flames from air, land and sea on Monday to save the USS Bonham Richard. The number of sailors and civilians injured in the fire also rose to nearly 60 people, being treated for minor injuries and smoke inhalation. Rear Admiral Philip Sobak described the fight against a stubborn blaze.
Together we continue to fight the ship both on board and from above, using helicopters from Helicopter Sea Combat. Structure in the upper decks continued to burn and have sustained damage. The forward mast has collapsed and the ship is listing. However, dewatering is in progress and we're keeping a good balance between both.
The fire erupted on Sunday along with at least one large explosion in its lower cargo hold. The 250-meter ship was docked for routine maintenance at its home port. After the fire first began, the flames spread upward towards much of the ship and reached into its tower. Because it was undergoing repairs at the time, only 160 of the ship's 1,000 crew members were aboard, and luckily, all major munitions had already been removed. The fire's cause was unknown, but a Navy spokesperson told Reuters there was no evidence of foul play. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'll be back with more tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm Prasad Michael. Thank you for watching.